Alright, so here is an update of what happened there today when I backed after those wolves, and it didn't happen. So I'm going to share a pretty crazy wolf story with you anyway in a second. But what happened was I went back in the evening, and it's so steep there, so wide open. It's like the chances of those wolves being straight up just watching you come up the road is huge. And once they see you, that's it. You're not going to suck them. They're not going to come down, and you're not going to call them. It's not going to happen. They know you're right there, and they know what you're up to. They just do. So I went up there and I snuck up over the kill again, took a look at it, and I brought a stealth camera with me that I had left over. Another shit-eating stealth camera. Don't buy them. I got so many I have so many failed stealth cameras. It's absolutely ridiculous, and they're around $250 each too. So you can see how frustrated I am with them. But anyway, that's all I had in the truck at the time. So I put a stealth cam on that deer kill to see if I could possibly catch the culprits. That'd be kind of cool to add in this video. And then I went back up there yesterday, a day and a half later, 2 days later, and the camera failed, and I cleaned up the deer. As usual, whatever, is what it is. And yeah, I do have a favorite trail camera, and we will share who that is later on. But anyway, so I went up there, I sat, I waited, I called, and nothing happened. But I noticed the whole time I was there, about 800 yards down the valley, about 800 yards down and up the slope, high up, again, on the same side, was non-stop ravens in one patch. When they're doing that, they're not feed on acorns. So obviously these guys killed something else on the next slope over, and they were probably preoccupied up there. And then once they cleaned that up, who knows how many of the members of the pack would have came down at nighttime and went down and finished up the morsels off that young deer. So the best way to do that in the future, if that was to happen again or happening to you, is when you are possibly going to approach that spot and they're above you like that, you're going to have to get up early in the morning and sneak in there in the dark. That would be the way to do it. And I was going to do that the next morning, but you know what? This bout of jet lag is unbelievable. I don't know why. You just can't shake it yet. And I've been waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's getting a little taxing. And I thought about it. I'm like, no, I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to go dust a bunch of these wolves in a little while anyway. So opted to stay in. But anyway, what I will share with you is a crazy frickin' wolf hunt story. I don't think I've shared this one yet. If I have, apologies, but whatever. Years ago, this is a crazy story. Years ago, we were guiding northeastern British Columbia, the eastern slopes, Rocky Mountains, and the North South Alaska Highway. And we're about an 8-hour horseback ride in there. And we had rode in, myself and another guy in a Wrangler, we rode in. It was the second hunt, I think, in August for a stone sheep. And the hunters fly in, right? So we all ride in there with a bunch of horses, get camp busted open, and get everything settled. So it's in the evening. There's probably about an hour and a half light left or something. And we all rode in, busted open the cabin, and then we heard a pack of wolves fire up on the high side of the airstrip, right above us, right over the cabin. There's a big burn up there, and there's patches of spruce, pretty big patches of spruce left in this burn. So, you know, when you run a pack of wolves by, you know, especially hunting guides or any hunter, it's just like dragging the mouse in front of the cat. You can't stop yourself. You got to go do something. You got to try. So all I had was this 12 gauge shotgun. It was an 870 Wingmaster. Ever heard of one of those? Obviously, I'm not the gun guy. I've had this thing for freaking ever. I actually shortened the barrel myself and never got a front sight put on it. So it's just a straight pipe. And lighter than light. And that used to be my saddle gun forever, just for guiding, right? Because, but you know, by law, as being the guide, you're not allowed to shoot any game. And if I was actually going to go hunt or guide for grizzly bears, I had a rifle for backup later on that I grabbed. It was like twice the weight of this little shotgun. So if I'm just regular guiding, I throw this little chunk of shotgun in my scabbard, and off I go. So that's all I had at the time. And so I had that. Mark had a 30-30. The Wrangler didn't have anything. And so off we go. And we go sneaking off up through the burn, up through the spruce up there, and we're howling back to him. We're mouth calling just like this. Just like I did here the other evening, and I videotaped it here. And then, bam, they fire up and they start howling back. It's like, okay, cool, here we go. So we call to them, they call back to us. And then wait a minute, try to get a good idea exactly what direction to go. And then we call again, and they call back and they're a little bit closer. It's like, okay, it's game on. So the three of us the kid came with us, we started running straight up the hill towards them until we figured we were probably within a couple hundred yards, and we slow right down and get into stealth mode, you know. And we're up in this burn, up on this ridge. So, you know, the ridge will go up the side of the mountain like that, ridge, back, and it'll drop down. It was all timber, spruce down on that dip until it goes way back to the next ridge up. And you can tell they're in that timber, they're in that spruce. So we go sneaking through the burn, and we're on these stumps, and we're calling back and forth. They're calling to us, we're calling to them, they're calling back to us, and we're spread out so we sound like maybe a pack of two or something. And finally you can hear these guys, they're getting real close. And they probably got to about 150 or something, and that's when it goes flatline, they shut up. Now, I've done this numerous times over the years, and I've explained this in the wolf hunting section of my hunting apps, it seems to be when you're calling wolves with your mouth, when you're mimicking them, it seems like there's about I think it's about 100, I've always felt it's about 150, 175 yard barrier. It's like when that pack of wolves gets within 175 and your mouth calling them with your voice, they know. they go flatline. And when they finally realize it isn't a wolf, right? So for me, and advice to all you, if you're out there hunting wolves, is if you're calling him in by mouth like that, you get your eyes on a wolf at 200 yards and he's coming in. I wouldn't waste any time after that. 200, 175, 150, let him have it. Because from my experience, I mean, who knows? I mean, there's probably guys out there have called him into 20 yards with their mouth, right? Shit's going to happen. But on average, these guys shut up. 175 to 150. They go flatline. They get all insecure. They take off, or they just sit silently and they watch us and they don't come out in the open. So sure enough, they went flatline. So I looked at Mark and I go, keep calling. Like I said, keep calling. So I got him to stay up above in the burn on the stump, and he kept calling. And then I slipped down into the spruce by myself, and to see if I could sneak up on these guys as silently and as slowly as I could. Okay, and then take note. Over the years, my bow hunting, I've been bow hunting since I was a little brat, and I always shot bare bow. Okay, so that means there's no sight. So you draw it back, you're looking where you shoot, and it's basically you're looking over the shaft of your arrow. So that really will come into play in a minute with shooting that shotgun with no front sight on it, right? No sights on it at all. So once I got into the timber, and everything's green because it's August still, so everything's green. The green leaves and the buckbrush and the timber, everything's green, still green grass, and it's pretty thick in there. So I'll use my rifle as an example. So what I'm doing is I've already got one in the pipe, right? I got the safety off because you want to get all that movement done, and before you get in there, you don't want to go into the timber where if you see the wolf, you're going to see it at maybe 15 yards, and then have to go like this. See all that movement? The second a predator sees you, they're gone. So I racked one in the shotgun, and I got it up to my face like this, right? And then I got it up to my face, and I'm going like this. And I'm going that slow. Got the gun up because I can hear them. I thought I heard a bit of a whimper up ahead of me in that thick brush, right? So now Mark's up above me, he's probably 100 and something up to my right, up above. And I'm in that spruce going through the green buckbrush as slow as I could. And then all of a sudden I could just hear this. That's all I heard. And that sounded real close. I'm like, holy crap, they're all around me, right? I'm right in on them, and they don't know I'm here. So I got the shotgun up, and I'm slipping along, and all of a sudden, straight in front of me, I could just make out, I just saw a color, a grayish, white color, about that big, move through a hole through the leaves. I just saw something move, so I froze, and I'm pointing down that hole, and then all of a sudden I see an eyeball come up. Just saw the movement, made it an eyeball, and the second I saw the eyeball, I just pulled the trigger and let it rip. And it was 12 paces. But the second I pulled that trigger, I swore I heard the impact of that. It was a slug, 12 gauge slug. and I pulled the trigger, and I swore I heard the impact of that lead hitting that thing. But then onto my left, I just saw a quick whoosh, a glimmer of fur went deacon off to the left. So I jacked wind right away, and I'm sitting there frozen, not making a sound, hoping to get another one or get a shot at the one that I was looking at. And it's so funny. And then, of course, the wrangler above us, "Did you get him?" I'm like, "Shut up, you idiot." Because now the gig's up, right? I mean, who knows? Those wolves may have never heard a gunshot in their life. The pack might still be there, whatever. And the second you speak loud English, they know the gig's up, right? So he speaks out, yells out, "Did you get him? Did you get him?" I'm like, I wanted to yell back, "Shut the fuck up, you idiot." And then I thought I missed him, but then I got walking up, and here's this monster freaking wolf, and he's just laying there with his head up, like a dog would in front of the fireplace, you know, around the porch. And he's laying there right at my feet, and he's going like this. He's just laying there with his head up, going like that, and here's a hole right over top of his eyeball. 12 gauge slug hole. Thunk, drilled him right in the forehead. And I guess, you know, it's just his nerves. His nerves were doing the thing. And then that was pretty incredible. I mean, you know, it sounds a little outrageous, but, you know, you go in the woods for a living and doing this crap. Crazy shit happens, right? There's no way getting out of it. And then, of course, you got to tell the story, and then it sounds a little far-fetched, but most incredible stories that are worth sharing do sound far-fetched, right? But anyway, now here's where being stupid kicked in. So, you know, those 870s, they got it's a wood stock metal shotgun. And he's huge. He's a huge freaking wolf. And I'm like, wow, I'm gonna keep the hide off this thing. It's not a winter hide, you know, usually not worth keeping. But I'm like, I'm gonna skin this. I'm gonna take this back, skin him out. So he's laying there, but he's still his chest is still heaving up and down, right? Because I shot him in the head. It's just brains. You know, he's brain dead. His organs are still functioning. He's still breathing. So what did I do first? I got a stick with a fork in it to hold his neck down, because I didn't want him, you know, I didn't want the nerves to make it go and bite or anything. Because one bite from a wolf, I think it's the second strongest pressure per square inch in the world bite. I mean, they'll grab a moose's leg and bite it in half like that, right? So you have one of those accidentally get a hold of your ankle or your arm, it's basically you're going to get a broken bone. So I got this is incredible. I remember, this is years ago too, right? I mean, we don't do the right thing all the time through life. You got to screw up and learn that way too before you do the right thing all the time. So I got this big stick with a fork on, and I held it on his neck, and I stood on top of his rib cage to see if I could deflate him that way. And I was at that time, I think I was like 210 or something, 210 pounds, and he's breathing and he's lifting me up and down off the ground. My body's going up and down with his rib cage sucking in air. I'm like, what the hell? So then I got a little frustrated. I grabbed the shotgun. I went to just bat him in the back of the skull with a shotgun. Snap! I bent. There's a screw that goes in through the butt of the wood shotgun into the shotgun. I bent that. I'm like, oh my God, you idiot! What are you doing? And then finally my brain kicked in again, and I grabbed my pocket knife out and I just popped a hole behind the shoulder into the ribs and deflated him. Whatever. Is what it is. So packed him out and skinned him out. And here is a picture of him skinned out in front of our guide cabin. And I'm basically, obviously, I mean, that porch was only not even 3 feet wide off the wall. And we had a little skinning little bench. I put the bench on the porch, laid the wolf on it and stretched him out, and then I sat right behind it. So you can tell it was a monster wolf, and no, I wasn't sitting miles back, because that porch is actually that wide. It's just a narrow thing in front of that window. And there you go. There's a crazy wolf hunting story of the time I shot a wolf with no sights with a 12 gauge slug at 12 paces in the timber. I'll never forget that. It'll never happen again. Well, maybe not. You never know. So anyway, there you go. There is one of the more that's a crazy wolf encounter and harvest memory of mine. And then but anyway, while I got you here, if you're still watching, obviously you're interested in hunting wolves. And I just got some round bales in of the guys here, so now I can escape for a few days. And I have to go to a friend's in Salmon Arm, and we're going to tally up a whole bunch of wicked foot trap techniques for catching wolves and cleaning up packs. And I'm going to transfer those into video tutorials to go onto the new Canines and Conservation app that I'm building, which is dedicated specifically to wolves and coyotes, and it's going to be hunting and trapping knowledge, okay? With no BS, and it's going to be 100% geared up, and wolf. I'm also going to put in all the best wolf hunting tips I can come up with in coyote, and we're going to jam this app loaded with it. The app's going to function without the internet connection anywhere on the planet, and then we're going to start getting that thing out to as many people as we can, so that hunters themselves can go and make a difference. Because obviously our governments in both the US and Canada suck ass when it comes to conservation, and especially with predator management, which is needed so fiercely right now in so many places it's ridiculous. And this is one of the things I can do as an individual without having to rally the government or clubs, which is political and takes nothing but tons of time. And this is something I can do to make a difference on a large scale right away. So keep your eyes open for that. I don't know when I'm gonna have it. Hopefully it's all up to the Tech Geek Squad when they can get it done now, because I've got my end is basically almost wrapped up. But anyway, there you go. If you can, get out there and make a difference.